Okay, let's unpack this. You know how we normally think about chance and necessity? Like they're complete opposites.
Right. Chance is just random, totally unpredictable stuff happening.
Exactly, spontaneous. And necessity is, well, necessary. It has to happen because of cause and effect.
It-
Structured, inevitable.
It feels like a really fundamental split, doesn't it?
It does. But what if that feeling, that big difference, isn't actually in reality? What if it's just how we perceive things?
Mm-hmm. That's the really fascinating question we're digging into in this deep dive. The source material we're looking at, Chance's Necessities Messenger, it really pushes back on that standard view.
It challenges the whole duality.
Yeah, suggests the line between them is much blurrier, maybe even dissolves entirely sometimes.
Okay, so our mission here, diving into these sources you've brought, is kind of to dissolve that line, to see how chance and necessity might actually be, I don't know, deeply connected.
Profoundly intertwined, yeah. It might give us a more complex, maybe even a richer view of how things happen.
So what's the core argument? How does the source start breaking down this division between Wuyon and Pilion, chance and necessity?
Well, the central idea is pretty mind-bending. It says this division we make isn't some objective truth about the universe. It's fundamentally epistemic.
Epistemic,
Ah,
meaning it's about our knowledge, how we know or understand things.
exactly. It's a product of our limits, our perceptual limits, the way our minds work. It's not necessarily how reality is.
Okay.
The source suggests that a lot of what we call chance is really just complexity. Systems with so many moving parts, so many tiny causes that our brains just can't track at all.
So it looks random to us because we can't see the whole picture. Like the butterfly effect, maybe. A tiny flap leading to a hurricane seems random, but there's a chain of causes, just too complex to follow.
Precisely that kind of idea. And then on the other side, think about necessity. The source argues that's often a story we tell ourselves after something has happened.
We impose a narrative.
Yes. We look back and connect the dots in a way that makes the outcome seem like it had to happen. We construct that sense of inevitability in hindsight.
Right, okay. So the hard line isn't really out there. It's more in here in how we process things. So if they aren't total opposites, how do they relate? The source talks about neural cross connections, like they're tangled up.
Yeah, tangled, nested, working together. The source gives some great examples. Think about quantum mechanics.
Okay, the really small stuff.
Exactly. Down at the particle level, things seem purely random, probabilistic. You can only talk about the chance of something happening.
Right.
But when you look at huge numbers of those particles together, their collective behavior becomes incredibly predictable, deterministic even. Necessity, sort of, crystallizes out of all those tiny chance events.
Wow. Okay, so chance at the micro level builds up into necessity at the macro level. That's a deep connection.
It is, or take evolutionary biology. That's another angle.
Mutations and survival.
Right. You get random genetic mutations. That's pure chance, completely undirected.
Just
It
happens.
just happens. But then those mutations face natural selection. And natural selection is not random at all. It's dictated by the environment. Which traits help survival and reproduction? That's necessity.
So the random event meets the necessary filter.
Exactly. And that interaction, that dance between chance mutation and environmental necessity drives the incredibly complex adaptations we see.
It's not just science either, is it? The source mentions storytelling.
Yeah, think about Deus Ex Machina, that sudden, maybe unlikely event that swoops in and solves everything in a story.
Like a god from the machine, literally.
Right. To the characters, maybe even to us reading, it can feel like fate, like it had to happen for the story to work out. Necessary. But it was the author's choice, right? Maybe a sudden inspiration, a chance idea, or a deliberate plot device.
So it's chance from one perspective, necessity from another. What about technology, like AI?
Good question. In AI, especially things like generative models that create text or images, they often use something called stochastic sampling.
Stochastic meaning random.
Yeah, involving randomness. It introduces variation within very specific rules and probabilities defined by the algorithm and the data. So the output can seem spontaneous, creative, like a chance result.
But it's not truly random.
No, that apparent chance is actually generated by the underlying necessary structure of the code and the data. The system's rules produce the feeling of chance.
Like the rules themselves create space for things that look like luck or randomness.
You got it. And this ties into something older, too, from Buddhist metaphysics. The idea of ja, or yanji, dependent origination.
Dependent origination. Everything is connected.
Basically, yeah, nothing exists on its own. Everything arises because of countless other causes and conditions all tangled together in these huge, intricate networks. So what looks to us like a simple coincidence, a chance meeting,
Is actually part of this vast web of necessity.
from that perspective, yes, it's
Hmm.
woven into a structure that's just too big, too complex for us to see all the connections.
Okay, these examples really hammer home that simple either, thinking about chance and necessity. It just doesn't capture it. They're constantly interacting, shaping each other. So, given this complexity, how do our brains handle it? We're always looking for patterns, right?
We absolutely are. Our minds are pattern-seeking machines. We see these fractal entanglements everywhere, systems like weather or the stock market.
Where you see order and chaos mixed together at different scales.
Exactly. Orderly structures emerge, but there's still unpredictability, and our brains try desperately to make sense of it all.
Now, by simplifying,
Pretty much. The source calls it narrative compression. We take the flood of reality, all the noise and data, and we filter it. We select bits, connect them, and weave a story, usually a causal story.
we turn the noise into a signal by creating a narrative, making sense of it.
We create meaning, often by imposing a sense of necessity or intention, even if the events felt quite random when they were unfolding.
That really feels true to how we experience things. And this connects to synchronicity, the Jungian idea.
Yes, the source brings that in. Synchronicity, that feeling of meaningful coincidence, events that aren't obviously causally linked, but they feel deeply connected, personally significant.
Like seeing the same unusual symbol 3 times in one day.
Right. The source positions this as a kind of psychological bridge. It's like our intuition, our deeper mind, is picking up on those hidden connections, those underlying structures that link events that seem random on the surface. It transcends simple chance and our conscious control.
Okay, so we pull all these threads together. The boundary is fuzzy, maybe just in our heads. They're intertwined in reality. Our minds create narratives to cope. What's the core takeaway, the kind of crystallized insight?
The central message is really potent. It says there's no such thing as pure side chance, understood as something completely uncaused, totally random noise.
Okay, no pure randomness.
But, and this is crucial, that doesn't mean chance is meaningless or just an illusion. Instead, it means, oh, you, you. Every single thing we call chance. It arises on top of a structure of countless unseen necessities.
Wow, so every coincidence, every random seeming event is actually standing on this huge, hidden foundation of necessity.
Exactly. It leads to this really evocative metaphor the source uses. Oh, you, oh, you, oh, you, oh, you.
Who do you, oh you? Chance is necessity's messenger in a cloak of mystery.
Yeah, think about that. When something appears to us as chance, a lucky break, an odd encounter, finding something unexpected, it's not just static, it's a signal, a message.
A message from what?
From those deeper, hidden structures of necessity that we can't fully perceive. The mystery cloak is the complexity that stops our minds from seeing the full causal chain. So we label the arrival of the message chance.
Chance as a messenger, carrying information from a hidden layer of reality. That changes how you look at, well, everything. It's not just dumb luck.
It's potentially meaningful information. And the source doesn't just leave it there as theory. It talks about practical applications.
How can we actually use this idea?
Well, for instance, in strategy planning, the advice is don't just ignore fear, serendipity. Don't write off those unexpected lucky moments.
Because they might not be just luck.
Right. If chance is a messenger, then serendipity could be a vital clue. It might be revealing hidden trends, unseen connections, real opportunities that your normal, linear planning wouldn't catch. You need to pay attention to those moments.
So serendipity isn't an interruption to your strategy. It's potentially part of the data the system is giving you.
Exactly. And in your personal life, the source suggests maybe trusting those connections that feel like chance. You meet someone unexpectedly or a certain book keeps popping up.
Don't just brush it off as coincidence.
Maybe not. Maybe trust the flow that these moments seem to reveal. See them as potential messages from that deeper necessity unfolding around you. They might be guiding you, informing you.
That definitely taps into feelings of intuition, or those times you feel strangely drawn to something.
It does. And finally, thinking about organizational design, how you set up a company or a team.
Yeah.
The source suggests intentionally creating company, room for chance. This isn't about making things chaotic. It's about designing structures, the necessity part, that actually allow for unplanned creative collisions.
Oh.
Things like diverse teams, spaces where people from different departments bump into each other, time for open-ended exploration. You create the necessary conditions.
For the chance encounters, the messengers, to show up and deliver valuable, unexpected insights.
Precisely. You're not eliminating chance, you're building the structure needed for chance to do its work effectively, acknowledging it's vital for innovation.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up. We started by questioning that hard line between chance and necessity.
Seeing it might be more about our perception.
And then we saw how tangled they are in reality: physics, evolution, stories, AI, even philosophy. Chance often seems to emerge from or interact with deeper layers of necessity.
And we looked at how our minds try to make sense of it all by creating narratives, and how maybe synchronicity highlights those hidden connections.
Leading to that core insight. Chance isn't empty randomness. It's a messenger.
Arising from unseen necessity, wearing that cloak of mystery because we can't see the whole picture.
And that gives us practical ways to think differently, being open to serendipity and planning.
Trusting those odd connections in life.
And even designing workplaces to encourage those valuable chance encounters.
It really is a profound shift in perspective.
It is. Which leads us, and you listening, with a really powerful question, straight from this material. If chance really is necessity's messenger in a cloak of mystery, what might the chance events in your life, the coincidences, the unexpected turns, what might they be trying to tell you about the hidden structures, the deeper necessities operating around you, or maybe even inside you?
What messages are arriving disguised as just chance?